Hello and welcome back to Music Production with Mr. Teachey. In this episode, episode 7, we are going to build on the drum part and the bass part that we've put together. We're going to add a melody to it. First thing you want to do when you are putting together a melody is you want to figure out what instrument you want for that melody. I'm going to visit the instrument rack. I'm going to take a look at some of the options here. I think last time I found these mallet instruments that I was kind of happy with, and I think that is what I will work with today to put together this melody. So just as a refresher, the bass and drum parts that we put together sound like this. And as a reminder, another thing that we've been talking about lately is how to make different parts in a piece of music work together and sort of build on each other and make room for each other and converse with each other. So one of the things we did with the drum part is the end of each bar really comes out because in the bass we've left that open. So having left that little bit of space in the bass, we can now think about maybe building on it a little bit in our melody part. I think this one will also be 4 bars, so I'm going to go ahead and plug the 4 in for length. And the other thing that I need to notice as I'm getting started is what kind of tonality we already have just as a result of working with the bass part. I've got a G and an F sharp and an E and a D and a C sharp and a B. So far those are the notes of a D major scale. But I'm working with a G and an F sharp. So that implies an interesting thing in terms of tonality. It could be that I'm actually working in G major, but then I'm tonicizing D in the end of the bar. It could mean some other fancy music theory things as well. My suggestion, if you are not well versed in Western music theory, like the language of Western classical music, then that's actually really helpful because you don't know any artificial rules that would restrict your music making. So just like go with what sounds good. If you do know these rules and you are the type who likes to sort of stick within these conventions, then I would still recommend playing around a little bit and then seeing if what sounds good to you also follows some rules, and then maybe adjusting it based on things that you know. Like if you've tried to plug an F natural in next to an F sharp and you're like, why doesn't this work? It's because you don't really want to have that augmented unison. That just is something that doesn't sound good unless you mean to put it there, right? So now that brief aside is out of the way, let's start putting together some melody. Let's play this and see how it. I'm just going to start plugging notes in and see what sounds good where, and build from there. I'm also, so that I don't have to hear wait for the 4 bars to start over again, I am going to loop just through here. I'm gonna move this bracket so that I'm just hearing 1 through just the first bar. But I need to do that for each of these as well. So you'll notice I'm just moving this little bracket back so that it's only playing through one bar. That way I can work on one bar at a time, not have to wait for stuff to cycle back up to the first bar. I think that sounds pretty good. I'm starting on the beat, and then for the next beat, I'm sort of jumping off the beat, and that it's sort of like there's a little bit of a bounce built into that. That's just kind of cool. Now let's expand this and do something with the second bar. That upper neighbor that we hear in the bass part, I think it would be cool to sort of echo that in the melody. So let's see, that should be on the third beat of the second bar, because this is happening on the second beat. So maybe wait, yeah, probably wait. Dum-ba-dum, dum-ba-dum. Aha, da-da-da, ba-da-da. Yeah, that'll be good. Da-ba-da, yeah. This is what's called a sequence. Maybe. Might not actually be a sequence because I'm only repeating that figure one time. So you're hearing it twice and there's one repetition built in. If I were to take this pattern and do it a few times, it would definitely be what you would call a sequence. And there's something kind of nice about a sequence, which is why it is a feature that has stood the test of time since the Baroque era. And I think it really comes down to this like clever repetition with variation. Our brains hear that and we're like, oh yeah, that's smart. That's something that, like, there are these patterns, structures built up in our brains, and like the music just like fits really neatly into those patterns. And it's sort of when I think your brain hears it and recognizes it, and then it gives you permission to like give yourself a pat on the back. That's my theory. I don't know if it's true. I'm not a neuroscientist, but let's hear this and see how it sounds to us. So, the third time through doesn't actually fit here because the third time through we want something new to hear. But if this were like a breakdown section where you've kind of simplified all of your supporting instruments so that you can really focus in on something cool happening in your melody part, a sequence would sound pretty nice there. You hear a lot of sequences in guitar solos in breakdown sections, and other types of breakdown sections as well. But I do want to keep this part here because I think this sounds cool. Yeah, And then I think I want to return to this original structure in our third bar so that we're not overwhelming our listener with too many new things, but I'm going to need to vary this somehow. Maybe we'll take a cue from the bass part. Let's make sure that we can hear the bass part as well as the drums as we build this out. Play this from the top. I think I want to just put a little something in there. We don't want that to be totally empty, I think. Maybe? Let's see. Let's make this a triplet thing instead. Maybe. No, that was not right. Just undid a few too many things, so I'm going to redo a couple of things. Going to get rid of the triplet grid. Let's try that. I'll come back to that. It doesn't seem to be happening right now, but maybe with more context, I'll have a better idea of what that needs to sound like. Now on the fourth bar, we have this cool thing where the bass is accentuating something that we have in the drum part. I might want to bring that same rhythmic figure into the melody part, and I might not. Let's see what we got. In our bass, we go to a lower pitch for the first time. We go down to that E. So what might sound nice is if we've got something in C, which is no, but it would need to be C sharp. Let's see how that sounds. Triplet grid, see if we can make this work. Triplet eighth note grid. So this is a G, F sharp, E, what do we have in the bass? D, C sharp, B, what? Yeah, C sharp, B, okay. That's not going to sound nice. This is where like you bring in a little bit of theoretical know-how. These are some parallel fourths, which isn't going to sound great. What would be really cool would be if we could go in contrary motion. So the bass is going down. Let's see if we can do something where the melody is going up. So that we've got like this expansion in our contour. We have Although that does sound kind of nice. That sounds kind of good. I'm not hearing the bass as well, so I'm gonna, and this is something I needed to do anyway because both in episode 6 and in this episode I've been peaking quite a bit. So I'm gonna reduce this down to maybe -6 dB, and then I'll drop this down a bit as well. And then the bass doesn't need to come down as much, and then the drums definitely need to come down a little bit. We will talk more about levels and gain staging when we get closer to mixing and mastering our first track. For right now, just trust that if you see this column over on the right hand side, this master channel, if you start to see if you see red, it's bad. You want to bring down your volume a bit. So let's try this again. I am relatively happy with that. Probably I would, if I weren't concerned with my audience getting bored, I would spend about twice as long sort of getting this right, because there are still some awkward spots. Like, for instance, this is not the right pitch to have here. That something needs to be there, but it's not that pitch. And I probably don't want to get so busy with my rhythm here, etc. But you're probably already asleep, so I'm going to call that good enough for now, and we will come back in episode 8 and start to talk about filling in some chords. So see you then.